Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cassandra Lunch number 66. Today we are, I did not update my title. We're going over DBeaver Enterprise. I am the speaker today as well as the host. So this is entirely my fault on the title. But we're going to be going over how to use DBeaver Enterprise with Cassandra. The hosts for this meeting are Raul Singh, Arpan, and myself. And we're always looking for more speakers and sponsors. So if you want to reach out to one of us, our information is listed below. If you're a guest here and there's a topic you would like to speak on related to Cassandra, definitely reach out. We are part of a larger community, Data Community DC, and this is an inclusive group. So regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, everyone's welcome here to share their knowledge around Cassandra. And you can find out more about Data Community DC at the listed sites here, as well as some of the sponsors. What we cover here is everything related to Cassandra, so including the ecosystem surrounding Cassandra, Spark, Kafka, all those sorts of things. And at this point in the chat, if anyone is new, or the intro, excuse me, if anyone is new and would like to introduce themselves, you can take this opportunity to do so. I do see some new faces, but I won't force anyone to say hi if they don't want to. All right, we'll move on. Group rules, if you have a question, please ask it. Be polite and courteous to others and share what you know. This is meant to be a discussion. Being your speaker today, I don't mind if you unmute yourself and reach out. At the end of the presentation, though, I'll ask for that. So once we're transitioning into the demo for today, we can go ahead. I'll go ahead and answer any questions you guys have. Here to not, we deal with real-time data platforms and solutions for businesses. So we work with Cassandra pretty regularly, as well as the surrounding ecosystem. DataStax is a partner as well. And George Washington University used to allow us to host these events at their facilities. These are some of the other organizational sponsors to Data Community DC. And at this point in the intro, if anyone has any jobs, meetups, hackathons that they would like to promote, you can take this as an opportunity to do so. I'll take that as a no. We are hiring here to not for full-time or part-time positions, data platforms, operators, engineers, and architects. You can find out more and apply at careers.anant.us. Some upcoming events we have here, the sister lunch, this Data Engineers Lunch is every Monday at noon Eastern time. Some upcoming topics, we'll have moving data from Cassandra to DataStax, the DataStax Apache Kafka connector, and Kate Sandra. You can find out more at anant.us/events. All these videos are recorded, or all these webinars are recorded and uploaded to YouTube. You can find these specific ones at the Cassandra Lunch playlist, and the Data Engineers Lunch playlist exists as well. And Cassandra Link is your #1 resource for all things related to Cassandra. And you can see there's even stuff surrounding Cassandra. So if you're ever struggling with something or look more interested in a topic about Cassandra, definitely go to Cassandra Link first to see what we have there. This is a hand-curated resource by Raul. So definitely a lot of good stuff in there. Be sure to check it out. That is the conclusion of the intro. Go ahead and switch over to the main presentation. So this was the correct title. It was supposed to be on the intro. So DBeaver with Cassandra and using Cassandra Database with DBeaver. We did cover this in a Data Engineers Lunch. So for some of you guys, this information is going to be somewhat familiar. And we'll kind of go into some of the how to connect it with Cassandra. So what is DBeaver? It's a graphic user interface tool for connecting and administering a database server. The community version focuses on SQL databases, whereas the enterprise version supports no SQL. So that's what I'm using today, is the enterprise version. And you can find out more. Well, we can actually go check this out. And you can kind of see here just the sheer amount of databases that work with DBeaver. Some of these we've talked about in this channel or in this webinar. So I know Presto is something we've talked a bit about, Yugabyte, MongoDB, Couchbase, some of the cloud-based systems. You can see Redshift, Google Bigtable, Snowflake, which was recently covered by Arpin at Anant. Some more of the Apache infrastructure, Cassandra, which we'll be going over today. Some time series databases, as well as Elasticsearch, Solar. So yeah, pretty extensive in their coverage of the types of databases that are supported. So really, if it's a good GUI tool for any use case, it seems. DBeaver is built on the Eclipse platform, and all database drivers are written in Java. One interesting thing I found out is that you don't necessarily have to use the Enterprise Edition as long as you have the Java driver for Cassandra. You can also connect Cassandra without doing the paid version. Just the Enterprise Edition makes it really easy, as you'll see, to connect to a Cassandra cluster. So the community version works with MySQL, Maria, Postgres, pretty much all the, as you guys kind of just saw. With the enterprise version, there is support for the NoSQL databases. It allows execution of SQL queries. You'll see we'll create a key space and some tables and run some short select statements. You can browse and edit data with a large number of features to choose from. They do kind of vary based on the database system you're using. You can browse and edit database structure, metadata, create and modify objects such as tables, indices, and users. This isn't as important for what we're doing today. The entity relationship diagrams are automatically generated when connected to a database. Obviously, Cassandra isn't relational or non-relational databases. This isn't really going to be helpful as there's no foreign keys or foreign keys pointing to various tables. There is SSH tunneling for movement of data between networks, SSL support for MySQL and Postgres. You can import and export data in various file formats listed here, most common ones covered. There is mock data generation for testing in the Enterprise Edition. And again, some of these features may be dependent on the type of database being used. So use cases, one of the biggest ones I've seen is just when you're using multiple types of database management systems, DBeaver makes it really easy to kind of switch between them all and make changes where necessary. Create different statements, do different selects, all that sort of thing. And you'll see in our demo today, there's actually a couple relational databases will connect to Cassandra. And you can see that you can just switch between databases with ease using DBeaver. And that's really the best thing about DBeaver that I've found. So with the DBeaver Enterprise Edition, I was able to sign up for a 2-week trial license and no credit card was required. So if this is something you want to try out on your own, there really isn't a cost to yourself. If you've been looking for a way to manage multiple database systems and want like a somewhat clear or fairly easy to use GUI, you can definitely give Enterprise Edition a try, and all you have to do is download it. You'll be prompted for a license initially, and there's a little button to do the trial. And yeah, it's really easy and no commitment required. Some of the comparisons to DBeaver would be things like Squirrel SQL, a lot of these PG admin, PHP my admin. So there is some competition to DBeaver. I think DBeaver just has the widest support or the most amount of databases you can work with out of the box. And okay, so we can move on to the demo. I am going to run a Cassandra instance in a Docker container. I probably should have got this started because sometimes it takes a second. Let's clear this out. Bring over my PowerShell here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I did download the latest Cassandra image, so I can verify that it works with Cassandra 4.0.1, I believe. And let's get this running. So I'm going to do Docker run. I'm going to expose port 9042, which will be important later for when we're connecting it to DBeaver. I've just named it DBeaver Cassandra, and it is the latest. All right. And this is the interface. So we can go full screen with this. So you can see DBeaver has a sample database in here that's SQLite. I've also connected Postgres in the past that was for the data engineers lunch. And to connect it, to make a new database connection, you just come here in this file explorer here or interface up there. You can see a lot of the options just pop up right away. Some of the things we discussed recently, or when we went through that view with the web page with all the different databases, you can see you can choose from what you're looking for here. And since we're doing Cassandra, we'll just go ahead and select that. We're going to connect localhost. Port 9042 is specified here already for us. I think that is the default port for Cassandra. I don't have a password set up, and Cassandra is kind of a default user. And finish. Let's see. Oh, and you can see the little green check mark there means we are connected. So what I'm going to start by doing is creating a key space, and this will demonstrate kind of this built-in, I guess, ideally, they would change this to CQL or something since we are connected to the Cassandra database. So it's not technically SQL, but it is SQL-like, and this will work for our purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and create a key space. And if we run this, we can see our key space was created. We'll have to refresh this in order to see this, but I'm going to go ahead and create some tables and insert a little bit of data in there before I go ahead and refresh, and then we can kind of explore that. So I'll also do another new script, and let's create the table. So you can see we've connected to that key space we created. Store, we created a table with user ID, text as the primary key. We have an item count, so the amount of things in like a user shopping cart, something like that, and then as well as a timestamp. And we'll go ahead and insert some data into that table now. All All right. And one last script, we'll just select everything we just put in there to verify that it's coming back. And then I'll go ahead and kind of show you, we'll refresh this database here so we can see that it's been populated and you can actually make changes in there. All right, and there is our value. So let me come here. So this doesn't really automatically refresh. It would be nice to have that, but if we go ahead and do this, you can see our key space popped up. And we have our tables. And you can see your columns, your keys. Don't have any indexes really set up. But let's go ahead and open this, take a look. You can create materialized views, define user types, aggregates, functions, pretty much manage everything you need to manage your cluster and the data in there. You can handle here. And let's see. Let me show you guys. And here's some of our data. This was kind of, I tried to keep it as simple as possible for this. At this time, if anyone has any questions or would like to contribute and have me, I could try to manipulate some of this, or if you guys have any things you'd like to see as far as if DBeaver is capable of certain things, yeah, feel free to let me know.
Arpin asked a question. I don't know if you saw that on the chat.
Would you? Oh, I did not see it. Okay, great. Let me see. Would you be able to run? So Arpin's asking, would you be able to run join queries natively using DBeaver's query writer, or would you still need to use something like Spark or Presto? I believe I did see that it does allow for the join queries. I haven't tried to do any. It's kind of beyond my skill level a little bit with this.
Yeah, you can't, I don't think you can do joins using the CQL provider. You have to do that with Spark SQL or with Presto.
Oh, got
yeah.
That's just not something you're capable of doing.
Well, DBeaver isn't going to do anything that the underlying data store isn't able to do.
Yeah.
Because it's just a client.
Mm-hmm.
But it does support Presto, right? And Spark. I thought I saw that on the feature list.
It does, yeah. So let me bring this back up. So yeah, yep, Presto is listed right here. I haven't personally used Presto. In my experience with it is kind of what I've learned about it through these conversations. It does seem like you can do things with, like you can get it connected in DBeaver, as well as, so Snowflake, something we've discussed. In Elasticsearch, I'd be curious to see how all of these work within DBeaver. I didn't set up my demo to run off those, but I think that would be interesting to see how different, because I know a lot of these technologies have their own interfaces already. So I'd be curious to see how DBeaver, what it adds to what already exists. Oh, I see we have a question from Malad. Can we connect to old Cassandra versions such as 1.2? We have one of our prod cluster on an old version. Also, does it support bulk import and export? I believe it does support bulk import and export. Let's see, where is my? It doesn't really talk about here. And I believe the oldest versions it works, yeah, is 2.x, 3.x or higher. And as I mentioned, this is on the latest 4.0.1. Unfortunately, I don't think 1.2 is gonna work here. I did not attempt to do any sort of bulk imports, but I believe you would be able to.
Yeah, I think the importer is kind of a wrapper to the copy command, but I could be wrong. Could be more advanced than that. That'd be a nice surprise.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Yeah, there we go. Data transfer, but it doesn't export. Oh, import data, right? So that's cool. I think it's whatever, and it does more than just import. I think it can schedule tasks, like some miniature airflow built in to do recurrent execution. Kind of cool.
Yeah, and so I know in my last discussion, I was this was more so in relation to a relational database, but I was able to import a large file, a large CSV file. So I imagine it would be able to do that. I know Cassandra tends to work with massive amounts of data. I would think they would have to have support for kind of those native Cassandra commands like dsbulk and stuff like that.
I wouldn't count on dsbulk, but it would definitely do copy, because dsbulk is not native Cassandra; it's native to DataStats.
Oh, gotcha.
Even though it's open source, I don't think it's part of the Cassandra distribution. So.
Oh, I see. Any other questions?
Cool.
All right. Thank you, guys. We can open up the floor to discussion. I know in the past we've asked you guys if there's any kind of future technologies you would like us to discuss on. Always interested to hear what the community wants to see discussed. So if there's any technologies you guys have been curious about and would like us to explore. Oh, I see a question. Can we see live running queries? So are you talking in like relation to like how quickly they're running or how efficient they are, that sort of thing?
No, I think he's probably asking like if somebody else is running a query, if it can run, if he can show you which queries are running.
Oh, I see. That I'm not sure of.
I don't think it can do that.
Yeah, because I feel like
like a process list. Yeah, so there are especially in the newer Cassandra versions, but also in like maybe the other older Cassandra versions, there are system tables that you can look at. So Josh, if you want to share your screen real quick.
Yeah.
And then go to like the system key space. Can you see the other key spaces? Other tables, sorry, inside the system key space? Maybe it's filtering them out, but there's a lot of system key spaces that give you that information. I don't know if it can necessarily show you, yeah, so show system objects. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's fine. Yes. 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 Okay. And then you may have to refresh. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, we need to do that. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you go to system views, tables, let's see, clients will show you potentially, yeah, just do a select star from there. Maybe you don't have permissions, or I mean, you should be logged in as admin, right? So just do a select on there. Just, yeah, that's it. I think you can right click on clients and just say show all, yeah, view data. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so this is just showing you the clients that are connected. You have a question. Maybe we can upgrade the live writing color. Yeah. Yeah, you can see kind of queries there. And then if you can go to the system key space also. And then tables. I believe there's one that shows you, I think it got moved. Yeah, this is more internals. But yeah, basically the system views are new information. Oh, virtual schema. Let's take a look at that. And then expand the tables. Yeah, there we go. It is not showing anything here. No. Yeah, I think it's whatever you have in the system views right now, native clients. If you turn on things like tracing and audits, then yeah, you can see a lot more information for sure. Good question. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. Any other questions, you guys? Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, so again, if there's any other technologies or things you're interested in having us discuss at these webinars, definitely feel free to let us know. That kind of concludes, yeah. So there's a question, can I ask about repair? If we want to stop the recording and make this more of a open forum discussion, we can go ahead and do that. Director, I don't know if you were still recording or not. Oh yeah, you are.